All right, let's talk about it. There is a problem with communicating with people that don't have the same interests, the same passions, the same beliefs and values that you have. That's already something quite obvious, right? It's difficult for you to talk to someone who doesn't hold the same belief system and same values and same everything that you do. That is understandable. But the thing is, sometimes you live in the world that you live in, the country that you live in, that allegedly is supposed to have the same culture and whatnot. But even then, there's a distinct difference in levels of communication. My point here is actually something that I've been observing. This is something quite general. This is happening all across the board, and it's not just a difference, a small, simple difference in culture, right? So I talked to Polish people, I talked to American people, Asian people, all sorts of people from all sorts of backgrounds, and I've noticed the same thing, a shallowness in the stuff that we speak, that we talk about, right? Even the most meaningless things ever is always shallow. The conversation can never go deep. The conversation can never go deeper than, knee level. It can never go deeper than any technical issue. It always stops at the shallowest place possible, which is likes and dislikes. It's the feeling thing. Uh, the Brazilian philosopher Professor Olavo de Carvalho, he formulated through studies in many studies in many different areas of philosophy and psychology, and throughout different authors, he managed to create a line of thought that he calls the 12 layers of personality, right? He didn't invented it, he just kind of compiled it and made it understandable in a system. So there is the system called 12 layers of personality that he formulated. And you notice that people kind of stop. Uh, um, at first, I thought it was exclusive to people like me from third world countries, people who with minimal education and whatnot would stop at the fourth level, the fourth layer of personality. All right, I thought it was exclusive to lesser beings like me who live in a poor education socialist country. But more and more, I've been noticing it happening in people from everywhere in the world. Like I said, Polish people, Asian people, American people, everywhere. Everywhere, everyone seems to be in this fourth layer of personality, which is the layer of I need to be liked and loved and accepted. That's the objective of the person when they are in the fourth layer of personality, which would be uh, around their teenage years. So it will be between what? Between 7 and 12, something like that. Maybe a little longer, maybe between 7 and 15 years old, which is the period of the school time, right? The school period of their lives is when they have to go to school and all that and live with other kids. So that's the moment that they start having the need to be accepted by the group. So they are in the fourth layer of personality in there. But it seems that people get stuck in that for the rest of their lives. And they live their lives by that creed that they have to be accepted, that they have to be liked, that they have to be loved. Otherwise, they're going to feel sad and feel bad about themselves. And they're going to mope about it. They're going to be depressed and sad because someone didn't like me. And it's strange because I'll go ahead and be openly honest and say I am not a very deep person. I'm not. I know that. I'm not a nerd. I don't know intricacy things of the stuff that I know about, that I read about, and that I study about. I don't go deep into stuff, but I try to scratch the surface a little bit. I try to. I really do. But I never go like way too deep into stuff because I'm not a nerd. I just don't have that capacity to just go too deep into the stuff. But the problem is that the stuff that I went after, that I read, that I studied about, they just don't work in the scenario in which you are surrounded by the common folk, the people who will talk about television, the people who will talk about their soccer game, their football game, their sports game, or whatever. People who will talk about cars and stuff that sometimes you don't have interest in. Sometimes you do. And I'm not going to lie, I do wish sometimes that I would have the capability of, being a nerd about, at least about cars. I am the most, basic bitch when it comes to cars. And I'm like, oh, it has four wheels and you can drive from point A to point B. That's a car for me. And people look at me and they're like, oh no, it's that car, and that brand, that model, and that year. They know the year of the car just by looking at the car. And it's difficult because then you want to talk about some other things and there is no other thing to talk about. Yeah, I know it is a mistake on my part to not be able to have the same type of communication that the people have. I understand. I understand that. But at the same time, Even in the meaningless things, like let's talk about TV shows. Let's talk about uh, the things that I that I just talked about in the previous videos. Like let's talk about movies. Let's talk about the impact on that. Let's talk about the story. Oh, what about the camera movement? Nah, doc, nah, nah. You're going. People's feel like it feels like people look at me and say, "Hey, you're going too deep into it. Just sit and enjoy and turn off your mind." And then at the same time, if you at least try to talk about something like that, like cars, for example, they stop. They don't go too deep into it. They don't go like, oh no, this has X amount of torque, and it has this and that, and it has this type of automatic injection or whatever. I don't know. I don't know. I absolutely don't know anything about cars. But he has this transmission, and that transmission is better, and you can just do this and do that, and blah blah blah. Even then, people gonna hit a limit on how deep that they can go, because if even if you go into the car direction and you're like, oh, pull them into a, a different direction, and you're like, oh, did you know that people are trying to make to kind of normalize put the engines, make them all the same, so there won't be any difference between engines across the board, and people gonna look at you like, huh? They literally gonna look at you like, oh my gosh, yeah, dude, yeah, yeah, okay, and then you're just gonna talk about something else, and you're gonna be there. You're just gonna exist there. You can just walk away, and they're not never gonna notice. So even in the meaningless things, like if you want to talk about how bad a movie influence your life, or how bad a music influence your life, they don't want to talk about it. They just don't go there. They're going to look at you and be like, why are you so annoying? Why is it so difficult to talk to you? Oh my gosh, here comes the annoying guy again. They're going to treat you like that. I am glad that for the most part, I'm not that guy that people roll their eyes, except when it comes to work. As you guys noticed on the last video, I am that guy when it comes to work, and people are gonna roll their eyes, and I don't mind. But when it comes to other things, I'm not the guy that people roll their eyes on that, because I just don't talk to people. I just can't talk to them. There's nothing to talk about, because if you go deep, people feel physically bothered by you scratching the surface, and they just want to move away. They just want to talk about something else. And if you go deep on something else, they just gonna feel even more bothered, and they want to run away from you. Now you don't have to be that redditor, fedora guy, like, oh, I am so much better than you. Oh no, that type of guy knows fucking shit. No, he's just as shallow as the common folk. He knows nothing. That guy knows absolutely nothing. All right? He doesn't. Because people who know something about something, they are usually quiet. about it, usually. Sometimes some people are more, people that are, especially people that are more social, they do have this distinct despair and necessity to talk to people. How do I know that? Because my friend Bald is like that. He's just like that. He's a social person. He likes to talk about it, and he has a drive to talk about deep stuff. But he is surrounded by common folk, just like me. So he suffers more than I do because he has the need to talk to people. And sometimes he has nobody to talk to. That is the sadness of people who has something to talk about and nobody to talk to about the things that you want to talk about. There is not just shallow, meaningless stuff. And there are different, like I said, even with the meaningless stuff like movies, TV shows, anime, comic books, because those are meaningless. Even in those meaningless stuff, there's nobody to talk about in a deeper level. I was trying to discuss with someone about a story of a gacha game. Right? Gacha games are known for not having story at all, but some of them do have an interesting story. But some of them have a quote unquote interesting story, but only down the line. So you have to suffer through like dozens of chapters to get to the quote unquote good part, the good bit. You have to suffer through some meaningless bullshit to get there. Right? And people don't accept that you criticize that kind of stuff, but people don't want to look at you and be like, no, 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 chill out. Though that there's this, and that. There's good, and if you approach it in this different light, you may enjoy it more. Maybe if you forget that part of the game and forget that part of that detail, or if you look at it this way or look at it that way, it may be a little bit better for you. But no, nobody just talk deeply, or at least a little bit deeper. They don't scratch the surface of the thing. And they just look at you and be like, no, I like it, and that's it. That's what matters. And you're like, well, okay, but I tried to play the thing, I tried to pay attention, and it didn't grab me, but I'm trying to understand why. Nah, you're just hating. No. But I'm starting to hate the thing, because if you can't help me enjoy the same thing that you do, that thing that you enjoy may not be as good as you think. It may not be as good as you think. If you can't pull me in any way, it might not be as good as you think. Right? You can't go too deep. If you're talking about how coded something in a TV show is, and how bad something is represented in there in a movie or in a TV show, and how you shouldn't be surprised how bad the entertainment is today, because it was always bad. And if you try to point out, people are going to be like, no, 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 no. They don't want to go there. They just don't want to go there. And you sit there like, fine, I guess. Okay, I'll just stand up, and I'm just going to walk away. And you should do that. You should absolutely just walk away. Just don't interact. Because there's nothing you can do. Professor Olavo once said that don't worry. Just don't worry. You will find someone who you can talk to eventually. Way down the line. Sometimes it may take years, decades, your whole life, but you will find someone. That's a saving grace, I guess. But beyond that, there's nothing more. There's nothing much. There's no way to talk about really absurd stuff. There's no way for you to talk about how, I don't know, how did the rain really fall down from the sky? There's nothing. There's nothing. There's nobody for you to talk about how a train walks. And if it is possible for you to make a train rides outside of the railroad, there's nothing. This is the most stupid, nonsensical thing ever, and there's nothing in there. Nobody cares. Nobody cares how you live a better life. Nobody cares how you eat better. Nobody cares how the world works. Nobody cares how nature works. Nobody cares how bloody physics works. Let alone metaphysics. You forget about that. You want to talk about really deep stuff? Let's talk about the soul and how to save your soul, and let's talk about God? Nah, forget about it. Spirituality? Nah, Gnosticism is what it is the shit, you know? Yeah, no, if you're non-Gnostic, nah, bruh, just forget about it. You ain't gonna talk to anyone. Because they're gonna be like, football and politics and religion, you don't discuss. We don't talk about those things. You don't discuss politics and you don't discuss religion. Each one has yours. Each one has their own, and then that's it. Everybody is happy. Be happy. It's fucking absurd. You can't have a fucking conversation about the most stupid, meaningless things, and you can't have a conversation on the most deep, bloody thing about the universe. You can't talk about the stars. You can't talk about the fish. There's nothing. And you absolutely cannot talk about everything that is in between the fish and the universe. You can't. You just can't. Because people don't want to know. People don't want to go in there. People just don't want to go in there. Do they? No. They don't want to have meaning for their lives. They don't want to have a serious discussion on anything. If it's not a fight, if it's not to be right, no, they want to be right about everything. They want to be right. If I'm not right, then I'm not having a discussion. No, I'm not. No, you're absolutely not having a fucking discussion, you piece of shit. You're not. Because there's nothing in there. There's nothing in there. It's the worst of it all when you have the capacity, the capability. You have the capability of observing people and understanding what they could do, and you can see it's bloody fucking obvious how they can do better about whatever. But you can't say it. You can't say any shit. You can't say anything. Because they're gonna be mad at you. They're gonna be all like, oh, you're trying to boss me around. Fucking hell. Absolutely doofus. So there's no way not only to talk about it, but you can't even fucking help them in any way. You can't be friends or friendly. You can't do it. People don't even know what a friend is. People don't even fathom what a friend is. I don't remember if it was Saint Thomas Aquinas or if it was I think it was Saint Thomas Aquinas who said that a friend is that who believes in the same things that you do. I like to put it in this way. A friend is someone who lives and dies for the same truths that you do. If that person believes in anything else that you don't believe in, or believes in things that are against your beliefs, that person is not your friend. It's as simple as that. You can't befriend that person. You shouldn't. It's not possible because the person is not gonna really be on your side in any way, shape, or form. That's just not possible. It's just not feasible. It is just not doable. Alright? It's sad. It's sad when you try to keep up a communication or conversation about any subject whatsoever, but the person either has this TikTok brain that they can't have an attention. They have an attention span of a bloody fly, and they can't hold a conversation up. This is something that, oh my gosh, it irritates me so much at work because we have an old man in there, and the old man has plenty of stories to tell, and the man is telling the story, and people keep fucking interrupting him and stopping him and changing the subject all the fucking time. And there I am trying to listen to the goddamn story because it's a fucking... I'm trying to go deep into the goddamn thing. I'm trying to scratch the fucking surface of a story of a person who lived the fucking thing. He went there and he did that thing. But people are like, yeah, you come, oh my god, you already told this story before. It doesn't fucking matter. I have never heard the story before, and even if I had, I will stop and listen to it again and again and again. It doesn't fucking matter. Just stop and listen to the goddamn fucking thing. You fucking attentionless, stupid twat. It's in a level of disrespect. It's just stupid. It's fucking stupid. Full of disrespect. It's completely disrespectful. Not only in a level of it's an old man telling you a story, so you have to have a respect for the old man, but not only that, it's a human respect. It's someone talking and you're talking over it and talking about something else completely different and not giving it an attention. Then don't give him an attention. Don't talk to him anymore. Why can't you just go away? Just walk away. Just look at him and be like, oh, I don't care about your story. Don't tell me your stories anymore. I don't care. And just walk away. Be rude about it in a fucking raw way. At least be rude in a respectful way. You can't be rude in a respectful way. Look him in the eye, look him dead in the eye and say, I don't want to hear your story. It's that boring. I don't like it. I don't care about your stories. Just go away. Stop. Shut the fuck up. You can be rude in a respectful way, but you have to pretend that you're listening. You're like, oh. And not listening at all, and stopping the guy and talking over him and just fucking talking about something else. I'm going away. I'm gonna walk away. I'm too angry. Goodbye.